Great, thanks, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to be talking about ArcGIS Runtime and augmented and virtual reality experiences, or building those experiences with Runtime as we know it today. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on slides, and then we're going to dive right into, as this is a demo theater, the demos. So just to provide a little bit of context. What are we doing, or what have we been doing with respect to targeting AR and VR experiences with ArcGIS Runtime today? One thing I want to mention here is if you were in our previous session on AR, VR, and ArcGIS, there's going to be quite a bit of repeat here. So just be prepared for that. We might have a little bit more detail actually on some of the development work that's going on, as it is a demo theater. So you will hear some things again. So the first thing here with respect to using ArcGIS Runtime to target AR and VR is we thought that Runtime would be a good start because ArcGIS Runtime already integrates with the ArcGIS platform. It's a native developer SDK. It's sophisticated, has a lot of capabilities. It also supports 3D, and so being able to support this on multiple platforms as a start was kind of critical to our being able to work with both virtual and augmented reality experiences. Of course, native apps can take advantage of sensors and controllers, and so we could actually work with the different sensors that we needed to provide the best experience possible for both AR and VR experiences. So we had a good start there, and we created a beta program about a year and a half ago. That beta program went live with Runtime SDK for .NET, iOS, and Android SDKs. And what we found in that beta program, after about 250 customers have joined, we've got another 100 employees actually within Esri that are participating in that beta program, is that Runtime was really built to support augmented reality experiences on mobile devices. We could target this responsibly today, given the rendering pipeline and the capabilities that Runtime has today. And so what we're doing right now at this stage is we're really supporting, or we're targeting augmented reality on mobile devices. I'll mention it again. And this means iOS and Android devices. Really devices that leverage or take advantage of ARKit and ARCore. We want to be able to use those toolkits, those capabilities on the platform and the devices that are enabled to use them to better orient or to better locate a device and to work with location awareness in a better way, in a more accurate way, a more responsible fashion. And so right now, the AR/VR beta program for ArcGIS Runtime is still private. It's also still open and available. So if you'd like to join the beta program, take a look at what we've done. We've got an email address here. If you're to send an email and request access, we'll get you in the program. You can take a look at the Runtime SDKs for iOS, Android, and .NET today. You can download and start building with them. Right now, it's built on the latest release of Runtime, which is 100.4, plus some AR and VR capabilities. Now, as I mentioned, you'll see some VR capabilities there, but we're targeting AR because we know we can build a solution that works with and that it really empowers Runtime developers to use or build AR experiences. Unfortunately, we don't actually have the rendering pipeline in place to support the sort of high fidelity experience, the responsive experience that you'd expect for a VR solution. And so we're not going to be targeting VR solutions for mobile right now. It's not something that we can build for at this stage. It might be something that we'll be looking at in the future. Mixed reality in this case, mixed reality, think of that as a premium AR or premium VR experience within the extended reality spectrum. This is something that maybe in the AR space would target things like HoloLens. In the VR space would target things like HTC Vive. Those are usually driven through game engine development. ArcGIS Runtime does not integrate with the game engine. It integrates with native development environments. In this case, we're talking about .NET, iOS, Android, Qt and Java. In this case, because we're targeting augmented reality on mobile platforms only those runtimes that support iOS and Android and that support ARKit and ARCore will include this capability going forward. And so with that, with kind of a lay of the land on where we are with support of AR and VR with ArcGIS Runtime, I'm going to hand it off to Adrian, who's going to show off some of the technology and actually show off the beta program too. See what it looks like. Great, Adrian.
Thank you, Rex. So once you actually send an email to the alias that Rex just mentioned, you will be able to access our beta community website. And that's what it looks like, where you have the video explaining what it is about, what you can expect and be able to do with the beta. And you can see on the left that we're already going through our third beta release of AR and VR capabilities, even if the next and final version will, as Rex mentioned, only have AR capabilities for those mobile experiences. So when you download those things on your computer, you end up with basically first a documentation that has the API reference and all that are specific to the AR VR capabilities that are part of the beta program. Obviously, this is built on top of the update 4 of the ArcGIS Runtime, so you have access to all the other API of the ArcGIS Runtime. For this, you can just go to developer.arcgis.com and get all the info you need about the Runtime API and sample code and things like that. But this documentation is just for the extra capabilities introduced with AR. You obviously have the packages, or depending on if you're on iOS, you'd have the package to be able to unpack all the beta on your computer. And then you also have a sample application. The goal of that sample application is for you to just you download all the bits, put them in the right place, and just build your application and see what it looks like as a first step in AR. What is that? What does that sample application looks like? If you already did any runtime program development, it will be really familiar to you. Where I have a scene, and I'm going to add a scene layer to my scene, which is just going to be the San Diego buildings. I just have some extra API that are not available in the runtime. It's basically be able to put transparent background. And also I'm going to enable the AR mode. This is just to be able to display the video feed from my device in the background of my scene view. But all the 3D capabilities are coming from the runtime. And then all I need to do is basically connect the sensors on my phone to be able to control not only the device video feed, which it will do, but also to control the camera, the runtime camera. So basically we will be able to render the 3D content at exactly the same place as the device is looking at, in which orientation the device is looking at. To do this in the sample here that is part of the beta program, we have the ARKit motion data source. What that will do is, for the devices that are compatible with that functionality, is connect to the ARKit video feed and all the data feed. And then we put that into a new API, which is a camera controller. So if you're familiar with the runtime, we know that we have the concept of a camera controller that came up in update 2 or 3, I think maybe, where we're able to not only control the camera by touch, by mouse, or the usual interaction method. We also have like follow a graphic, so we'll be able to force the camera to follow a tank or something like that. Or we can rotate around and make sure that a particular geo element is staying at the same place. So we're using exactly the same idea here, where we're going to control the camera, and what's going to control the camera is not the touch or anything, it's going to be the ARKit on your phone. So ARKit is now in charge of rendering the video feed and controlling the runtime camera. So what it looks like, if I just run the sample, didn't change any line of code. So if you just download the bit once you join the beta program, it's exactly what you're gonna end up with. I think it's still downloading data. So basically what I'm using right now is, what you can see is ARKit rendering. And you can see that I have the San Diego building, because that's the only layer I added to my project, that I actually render at the background of my application. So that's what you get by default, without spending any time on the program, and just build and run the application, and then you have your first step into an AR mobile application. If you spend a little bit more time developing it, and that's pretty much what we did in that other sample, is the capability of using ARKit to detect the surface. So all those yellow points are actually what ARKit can see. So I'm going to select one, and then I'm going to display my scene on top of that table. So now I'm in AR and I'm showing Yosemite on top of my table. I can reduce the model to try to fit nicely. I can rotate it too, so it fits more naturally on my table. Once again, I really want to mention that. I keep on saying it, but I take the example of my kids. I tell my kids, try to be on Glacier Point, which is that point right there, and looking at Half Dome. If you try to do that with a computer, you need to learn the mouse movement, the right click, the left click, the scrolling the wheel of your mouse. And it's something really complicated to do, even with a touch interaction. In AR, it's really simple because you actually move completely naturally into the scene. So, they just say, oh, you want me to look at this from that point of view? Well, I just do this. And that's it. And it's hard to explain because I'm the only one holding the device and you're just looking through a screen. But that is the most natural way to interact with your data. There's even the concept of it doesn't have to be AR. You don't need the video background in that case. You just want to be able to interact with your data in a very natural way. You will still use that beta program, but you don't have to make the background transparent. You can actually use if I look down, I'm using the capabilities just to navigate my scene. So the code I showed you so far was just, the extra API to enable those experience. But you still have access to all the other runtime APIs. So I have a view shed and a line of sight. So I'm going to put a guy right here. It's pretty tiny and I'm shaky, so you're not going to see him very well. But I can then access a view shed from those positions. And this is basically just using the runtime API of 3D analysis to be able to see what an observer will see from that point of view in Yosemite. So once again, the API and the documentation part of the beta program are just what is specific to AR, VR, but you still have access to all the runtime API in that context. So here I have a view shed. I can also do a line of sight, and I can move my finger around and see, I guess I have two observers, and see what one observer will see and not the others. And still navigate in a full AR environment. So, We've been also working with our apps team and see what they could be researching and what type of experience they could actually develop on top of our runtime AR capability. So first one, I don't know if you heard about ArcGIS. I actually don't have data for ArcGIS on my phone, but it's an application that you can download today in the App Store, and you'll be able to visualize point features in AR. And it has been actually used on the field, and we have some pretty good user story on the usage of ArcGIS. So that's available today, obviously as a project lab project, but still something that you can already consume. Another app that is in research right now is basically be able to look at your story map in an AR environment. So I'm going to try to find a story map that is close by. It's only the user conference, so I guess they don't have that many story maps around here. But the experience here is if I put my phone at the horizontal, then I have a 2D map, which is obviously a runtime application that you might get used to see. The only thing is that to direct the map, I'm actually not panning or touching the screen. I'm actually rotating the phone. So you can see that already, even if it's a 2D experience, I'm using the ARKit underneath to be able to direct myself and find the precise heading, and other magnetometers and other sensors on my phone to be able to direct the camera and direct the geo element that is displayed right now on the map. And the experience is made that if I just lift my phone, then I move to an AR application. I haven't pressed any button or anything. So now I just need to find where San Diego will be, because that's the only, it is. It's way over there. It's 84 miles away. But this application has a full experience where you can actually click on the specific geo element that has been added, and then you will have all the information that are coming from the map story that is available online. So those are really two quick a demo on how you could use those AR applications. We actually have other videos and other use cases if you want to talk to us about it. One of the most popular one is a video that I've made a long time ago, where I was doing indoor routing. So the problem with AR is to get your initial position, but once you get your initial position, you actually are able to use ARKit and ARCore to get a really precise location. So you can actually do an AR routing and go from one office to another, going through stairs and stuff like that in AR, looking at your phone, which is definitely the most natural way to get any GPS system. I think Rex is actually putting up that video right now. Which number are you in? 3. This is just one of the early tests we did about consuming data and have something that really take advantage of AR. It's not about just showing AR. AR has really 2 huge components. Is first the natural interaction, be able to navigate your data, and also be able to place geo-element data into your real world. And in that case, to show you the path to go from one office to another in AR is what definitely makes the most sense. As that video is going, I'm going to talk really quickly about the step ahead. So right now we are in the beta program. We have been in beta for a year and a half, and we gather a lot of feedback, and that's why we know where to focus now. The first feedback that we get was ARKit and ARCore APIs are still evolving a lot. And they're not stable enough for us to be able to incorporate them directly inside our API. So we cannot deliver that experience out of the box from the Runtime SDK perspective. What we're going to do at update 6 is that we're going to light up a set of APIs that allows anybody to build those experiences using ARKit and ARCore. And we're going to release what we have in the runtime called Toolkit. I don't know if anybody is familiar with toolkits, but those are basically, we can call them widgets and things like that you can just grab, and we're providing the source code for those widgets too. And you can just grab them and use them inside your own solution. We're planning on doing the same with AR and have like an AR scene view. And that AR scene view will rely on ARKit or ARCore or GPS system to get your location, your direction, and all that. And you'll be able to grab that toolkit, put it in your project, and have it having lighted up. And then as you have access to the source code of that toolkit, you'll be able to modify everything you need. The benefit for us is flexibility. That means that you guys have the source code, so you can actually do anything you want with it. Once again, we don't rely on ARKit and ARCore API changes. And ARKit and ARCore require also the version of your devices to be quite high. So, I think 6.1 for iOS is the latest one that is supported. So you have to have devices that are really up to date and good hardware. So if we get that not in our SDK, but inside a toolkit, then you're in charge of figuring on which device you can run depending on which functionality you want to use, part of that toolkit. But yeah, if you have any questions on what the next step for the beta is, just come talk to us. And with that, I'm giving it back to Rex.
Great, thanks, Adrian. All right, so the take home here is, if you want to work with Runtime, you're a Runtime developer, or you want to be able to take advantage of or build out a mobile experience, mobile AR experience targeting iOS and Android, Runtime is there for you. If you're not in the beta program, feel free to join now. What you heard from Adrian is that later this year, we'll have another update to Runtime. That update is called Update 6, 100.6. That'll probably be in Q3 of this year. That'll provide a foundation that'll allow us to build out toolkit components that will enable you to be able to build out AR experiences. Right? So our toolkits that we have available currently for our products will be enhanced and provide really a control and a set of conditional logic that will plug into or take advantage of ARKit and ARCore. You can see the source code, you can enhance that source code, you can obviously pull from that and start building out your solution on top of ArcGIS Runtime 100.6 to be able to build out production-ready solutions on Runtime for iOS and Android. So something to look for later this year. If you want to get an early peek at this capability, join the beta program. The API that's in the beta program today is not necessarily what's going to be available when we go into production later this year as part of the toolkit, but it's a great opportunity to take an early look at these capabilities in runtime. Maybe some of the conditional logic that you build out to provide better location accuracy or positional accuracy will still be useful when we provide a production-ready solution later this year. But still something to take advantage of. A side note in all of this is that we do have some research that's ongoing with respect to providing a developer solution or developer experience for game engines. And this is integration with Unity and Unreal. It's a lightweight API, access to a variety of different live and local content, like raster tiles for display and elevation, features, as well as I3S content, like 3D objects for buildings. There's a lightweight API that we're looking at delivering. Now, if we deliver that in a beta context, we'll probably use the same beta program that we have here to deliver that prototype, that beta. So once you get in the beta program, you're in, right? And so the developer experiences that we're looking to target and deliver for anything across the extended reality space, we're using the beta program that we have right now. And so something to look forward to in the future. Hopefully we'll be able to see something like that will enable you to target a broader range of solutions with respect to extended reality experiences. So again, mobile AR experiences, ArcGIS Runtime, going to roll that out for production use this summer. Be good to go. Get in early, start working with it. Give us feedback. We've got a pretty active forum out on the beta community today. Anybody in the beta program right now? Good stuff. Okay. There you go. Great. Have you guys asked any questions on the forum? No? Okay. All right. So get busy, guys. Ask a couple questions. Get a few things out there. Circulate, right? It's always good. Build that community up would be great. And I think that's all we've got for the demo theater. Any questions thus far on what you've seen? Question? Yep. Go for it.
ArcGIS scene layers is only type of data to use?
Right. So ArcGIS scene layers. So scene layers is a type of data. So scene layers can be hosted as services as well as packages. Scene layers are based on the I3S format. Think of the I3S format as providing a mechanism for optimizing GIS data for display within a 3D context. Right. That includes things like multi-patch as 3D objects. Think of buildings. Integrated mesh. Think of a surface. Point cloud. Think of LiDAR data to point cloud and being able to work with different point clouds in a 3D context, as well as traditional features. Right now, points, eventually lines and polygons, but those points, lines, and polygons cached in a way that optimize for their use in 3D. Right. So it's really based on the I3S format, which is a public format, a public specification that we provide, and a number of our products build and deliver layers for use in a 3D context in this fashion. So it's both, yeah. So you can publish as a service. So we actually support scene layers from service endpoints. We also support scene layers from packages, right? So that same content can be delivered as a discrete package on disk. Yep, good stuff. And so of course you're working with Runtime. Runtime already supports 3D. Runtime already supports scene layers, whether from a service or from the scene layer package. And so you already have that capability built into Runtime. Right. Yep.
We have a session on Thursday afternoon, I think, that explains how to build 3D application in the runtime. So if you're more interested on what type of data the runtime supports, that'll be a good session to go to. Build 3D application on the runtime.
ArcGIS Runtime building 3D applications. I think it's at 4 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. Mojave G, I'm not sure. Somewhere over on this side. Right, exactly. So something to look up in the agenda. Actually, I can't remember exactly where it is. But yeah, that'll be on Thursday evening this week. So feel free to stop by. It'll be Adrian and I, the Adrian and Rex show, again at that point. And we'll be able to go into 3D more specifically. So good stuff. Any other questions, guys? We're available, of course, after this demo theater. So feel free to come up and ask us questions and maybe talk about your solution. Looking forward to see what you guys can put together. Actually, enjoy the rest of your conference. Hope to see you around here too. Cool. Thanks, guys.